Hey there, it's JohnBerry555, and welcome to my review of The Bad Batch Season 2, Episode 3, The Solitary Clone. So if you haven't checked out my spoiler-free review or my predictions, they will be linked in the cards. Also, if you haven't done so already, watch the episode. I mean, I will be spoiling it, so if you don't want spoilers, go watch it on Disney+, then come back here. Anyhow, let's get into my full review. So like I expected in my predictions, this is a crossover episode. In fact, the rest of the Bad Batch do not appear at all. And I gotta say, that's actually pretty impressive. But yeah, so let's really address how Crossover is the solitary clone. He has been isolated from his brothers, specifically the Bad Batch. He's also isolated among the clones, because we saw this in season 1, and the Bad Batch talked about it a little bit too, the other members, how they are different from the rest of the clones, therefore they don't have the same closeness to the other clones as the other clones do among each other. They are more isolated, or more solitude, if you will, from the rest of the clones. And Crossover particularly feels this. Even watching season 1 of the Bad Batch and the Bad Batch arc in the Clone Wars, Crosshair was kind of the odd one out from the group. He was a bit more isolated one, a bit more closed off, and we're really seeing how he is a solitary clone here. But going back to the episode plotline itself, not just the semantics, because we gotta get back to understand the plot to talk about the semantics. Crosshair is cleared for medically cleared to go back to duty after being on that platform on Kamino for over a month, apparently. And this Kamino rotations are short, but man, that's pretty impressive that he stayed loyal to the Empire through all of this. But he's assigned to go on a mission under the command of Commander Cody. And this kind of brings up, Cody's like one of the few people in the Empire that Crosshair has any sort of relationship with, a friendship even. Again, I don't know quite if Crosshair even had friends, even among his brothers in the Bad Batch, but he's definitely, Cody's probably his closest friendship he has left within the Empire. But by the end of the Empire, Crosshair's own choices help destroy that. Which very much fits nicely into Commander Cody's arc as well. So it's when they first meet up in the episode, Cody talks about how other clones are been questioning Order 66 and all that, but he repeats the idea that good soldiers follow orders, essentially trying to convince himself he did the right thing. So by the end of the episode, he's definitely made a decision on what he's going to do. That is Cody. But Crosshair has also cemented the decision that he made back in season 1 to stay loyal to the Empire, to be a fascist goon, in other words. But they'll send you a formal separatist plan to take it out, or not take it out, but to basically eliminate the opposition and to rescue the Imperial governor who was taken captive by the original and legitimate governor of the planet, who's using an army of reactivated battle droids. And so notice and this is something very interesting to notice, when the Imperial governor first goes on the plane, that he brings PK troopers with him. But when they're captured, the Empire sends the clones in. And not all the clones make it out. The Separatist remnant puts up a fierce fight. They want to be independent from the Empire. But in the end, Cody and Crosshair make it up to, well, I don't know. I don't want the governor's balcony, I guess. I'm not quite sure exactly what that is. But you know what? Cody diffuses the situation. He basically gets the governor to surrender, and she does. But the Imperial governor is like, no, kill her. Cody's like, what? No, I negotiated. But Crosshair takes the shot. And then we get this silent sequence. Right, first the Imperial governor orders the former governor to be put on display as a warning to the citizens, residents of the planet. But this entire sequence of them leaving the planet, quiet, just the skull. And Cody's the only trooper not wearing his helmet. Crosshair has his helmet on. All the surviving clones have their helmets on. And all the TK troopers this Empire has sent in for occupation have their helmets on. Cody is the only one with no helmet on. Which is quite telling. You saw this in also other episodes of The Bad Batch. And also the Clone Wars, when Rex gets older 66, his helmet is off and he's shaking. But when he puts the helmet on, he's basically fully under control of the chip. Then he was fighting it. Then in the Bad Batch, no, the the good guys, the Bad Batch, except for Crosshair. Even Crosshair has his helmet on certain times, but they have their helmets off during key moments where the other clones are basically fist pumping the Empire, more or less. And then in Star Wars Battlefront 2's campaign, when Inferno Squad lands on not Paleo, on Aiden's homeworld, I forget the name of it, which is a lower Imperial planet then. But Aiden and Del have their helmets on, but Hask has his helmets on. And guess which two betrays the Empire? The one with the helmets off. Cody, at the end of this episode, off screen, but he has one last conversation with Crosshair on Coruscant. They talk a little bit more about having to live with their choices, and then we find out through Admiral Rampart that Cody has gone AWOL. He's gone AWOL. Likely deserting the Empire. He decided he can't continue fighting for the Empire. He has to leave the system, and he does. But that's not Crosshair. Crosshair is in the system. He's made his choices. Very likely because he has no other place to go, and feels like as a soldier, the Empire is the only place for him. That's probably why it's partially keeping him loyal. But it does seem like he likes the ideas of order in that. So in some ways, the Empire makes sense for him. It fits him. So two clones who are probably both feeling solitary, but one makes a choice to stay in the system, and the other makes a choice to leave the system. And going back to another thing, the Empire, you can tell, is not using clones for the oppression. They're using them to send in for when there's actual fighting going on. But when they need to occupy the planet, they're not using the clones. They sent the clones off the planet. They just brought in the TK troopers for their occupation. Which I think, and the TK troopers eventually become the Stormtroopers. Which I think can explain why Stormtroopers at many times are so ineffective. Because they're not an army. They're not like the clone troopers designed to go fight enemies. Granted, we do see them be very effective in Star Wars Andor, Stormtroopers, but the thing is, they're not a military force. They're a militarized police force. That's what they are. That doesn't mean they can't be cracked shots in that, but what their purpose is not to fight an army, but to fight mobs, to fight civilian uprisings. But facing an organized force like the Rebel Alliance is something the Stormtroopers, the TK troopers, are not playing for. So the Empire, once they get their control, it seems like they're going to discard the clones because they just need a police force. They don't need an army anymore, a proper military. They just need to secure. They don't need to actually fight. But they do end up. But I think that's showing a lot that the clones are not being used for occupation more and more by the Empire probably because, like Cody said, clones are questioning the order. And I have a feeling it's not just Order 66, but the entire new order of the Empire. They're questioning it, like, is this what we fought the war for? And more and more clones are going missing, deserting, going AWOL. Going rogue even, like the Bad Batch. I have a feeling we are building to a clone rebellion. And this episode, while being about Crosshair, is showing how he's isolated from all the other clones. And he is isolated in Empire, but he's really isolated from the people who've gone through similar experiences as him. And those are the ones who are questioning the orders, who are thinking, you know what, we shouldn't be doing this. Some, like Crosshair, will make a choice to stay loyal to the Empire, but others, like Commander Cody, will make the choice to desert the Empire. But I think that is where I'm going to end this review. The rest of the Bad Batch did make an appearance, but we did get a very important Crosshair episode. Shows us what's going on in the Empire, but also shows us what's going on with the clones and with Crosshair in particular. Shows how he is isolated, which does maybe make some hope that there is a chance for him to be redeemed. I don't think he's going to get a redemption, at least not a redemption like that other clones probably will get, or like even some other characters like Aiden have gotten in Star Wars. I have a feeling he's going to get a redemption more like Darth Vader or Kylo Ren, if it even occurs. But in the meantime, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, let me know what you thought of the episode in the comment section down below. Let's get the discussion going. And as always, have a good day, good night, wherever you are. May the force be with you always.